Hello, in this session we will discuss about quantum mechanical rigid rotor problem. First, particularly we will confine ourselves to motion, rotational motion in two dimension, or such kind of problem is also referred as rotational motion of particle in a ring, because ring is a two-dimensional system, and we will consider that our quantum mechanical system rotates in xy plane, and the bond length of rotation, the rotational bond length, or the distance from the center of mass to the extreme end of rotation is given as r0, and this and we are considering that it is a rigid rotor, so this bond length is assumed to be remain constant, and the bond length is given as r0. So again I am repeating the condition. There is a quantum mechanical system of diatomic molecule, and that is rotating in xy plane, or a ring system in xy plane, and with a bond length of r0, and the bond length is assumed to be remaining constant during the process of rotation. As the bond length is assumed to remain constant during rotation, this model is referred to as rigid rotor model. And again we are considering the center of mass coordinate system, and for center of mass coordinate system we will be using reduced mass of the system, and reduced mass is given as m1 m2 over m1 plus m2. m1 and m2 are molecular the mass of the two associated atoms that are involved in the bond. Okay, and so this is a rotating system in xy plane with a fixed radius of r0. Now it is assumed that particle experience no hindrance. There is action of no external force. No external force acts on the this quantum mechanical system. Therefore the potential energy is constant everywhere, means during the rotation the system has only kinetic energy and potential energy is not at all there, and it remains constant, and we will substitute that potential energy in the two coordinate system is 0. The rotating system is only experiencing kinetic energy, and potential energy is 0. Now since we are considering ourselves, we are considering the quantum mechanical rotation, we have to use the time independent Schrodinger equation in Cartesian coordinate system. First we will use Cartesian coordinate system, then as discussed in the last session, we will convert our Cartesian coordinate system to spherical coordinate system. From spherical coordinate system, or in polar coordinates, the symmetry of the system is reflected properly. That's why the rotational motion is generally considered in spherical polar coordinate system. Now the time independent Schrodinger equation for rotational motion in two dimension is given as minus h bar square over 2 mu. Mu is the reduced mass of the system. Then d square over dou partial derivative with respect to x, partial derivative with respect to variable y, and they both act on the wave function, that is psi xy, and the r value, the other variable r, is the bond length is remaining constant, and that is r0 is equal to E psi. So this is the Hamiltonian operator, and when that operator acts on a eigenfunction is psi xy, and then it will give a energy value and multiplied by the same function. So this is all about the time independent Schrodinger equation. Now it is expressed in Cartesian coordinate system. We'll convert this time independent Schrodinger wave equation from Cartesian coordinate to polar coordinate. Now here we have not included any potential energy part, because during rotation potential energy remains constant, and we've taken that potential energy to be constant 0. And that's why we have considered only the kinetic energy of the system. Now we will convert the Cartesian coordinate to polar coordinate system. Now this dou square x square, dou square dou y square becomes 1 over r0 square. R0 is the constant bond length, dou square over dou phi square. So this Cartesian coordinate system, Cartesian coordinate, and the operator in Cartesian coordinate, what is the operator? This kinetic energy operator, dou square over dou x square plus dou square over dou y square becomes 1 over r0 square, dou square over dou phi square. So we'll use this operator now to express our time independent Schrodinger equation in polar coordinates. So this minus h bar square over 2 mu, that remains constant, and the Cartesian coordinate operator becomes 1 over r0 square, dou square over dou phi square, and that acts on a eigenfunction. The eigenfunction was given as psi xy. Now we represent a different form of eigenfunction, different notation. Not the function remains same, but we'll use a different notation in polar coordinate or spherical polar coordinate. And the eigenfunction that was represented as psi in Cartesian coordinate will represent the eigenfunction as phi, capital Phi, which is a function of angle phi, and this angle phi is called azimuth angle, and it varies from the limit of azimuth angle is from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so the eigenfunction that was represented as psi xy in Cartesian coordinate is represented as a different notation, and the notation is given as function phi. Capital Phi is the function actually, and it depends upon the angle variable phi. Okay, so and similarly, when this operator, this kinetic energy operator acts on the eigenfunction phi, it will give an energy value, that is energy eigenvalue, and multiplied with the same eigenfunction. So this is all about the time independent Schrodinger equation in polar coordinate. When this equation is solved, we'll get the energy eigenvalues. Okay, so that symbol has changed to the eigenfunction symbol has changed from psi to phi only to emphasize that the variables have changed. Initially the variables were xy, and in polar coordinates the eigenfunction depends upon the variable phi, and it is independent of r because the distance is taken constant. Had the distance been not constant, the eigenfunction could have dependent on r also, but since in our case the distance is constant, so the eigenfunction in polar coordinate depends upon only one variable, angle variable, one of the angle variable. There are two angle variables possible in polar coordinate system, but since we are confining ourselves to two-dimensional problem, here in two-dimensional rotational problem, the eigenfunction depends upon only one of the angle variable, and that angle is the azimuth angle or phi. Okay, so when this above differential equation is solved, we'll get expressions for energies. Now what is the solution of this differential equation? From mathematics we know this differential is same, differential equation is same as Schrodinger equation for free particle. Now Schrodinger equation for free particle we have not discussed. Generally it should be discussed before prior to understanding of particle in a box, but since it is beyond the scope of this curriculum, we have not discussed the Schrodinger equation for free particle, but this second order differential equation resembles with the Schrodinger equation for a free particle. Now from the free particle problem, the solutions are known to be, the solutions of this second order differential equation is known to be, there are two solutions possible, two linearly independent solutions are possible. In one case phi plus, and the other solution is phi minus, and that is given as a plus phi e to the power I ml phi. The other solution is a minus phi e to the power minus I ml phi. Now there is a I is iota operator and phi is the angle variable. Now ml is a constant. What is ml we will discuss shortly. ml is a constant, and what is the exact nature of ml we will discuss shortly. So two independent solutions are possible for this particular second order differential equation. Now this a is the normalization constant. We will find out the value of the normalization constant. So determine the normalization constant. So to determine the normalization constant, we have to integrate the complex conjugate of the eigenfunction and the eigenfunction over the whole space, over the entire limit available, and we have to set equal to 1, means over the entire space available there exists some probability of finding the particle. So what is the available limit to be considered here? The limit that to be considered here is 0 to 2 pi. Okay, for the azimuth angle the limit is 0 to 2 pi, and what is the eigenfunction complex conjugate of eigenfunction? Then the eigenfunction over whole space is equal to 1. So what is my eigenfunction? A e to the power I ml phi, and its complex conjugate will be minus I ml phi, and the same eigenfunction will be plus I ml phi. E to the power minus I ml phi or plus I ml phi will give me 1. So again this normalization constant becomes a into a square. It comes out of the integration, and that is equal to 1. So my normalization condition becomes 1 over root 2 pi. So what will be my solution then? My eigenfunction 1 over root 2 pi e to the power iml phi, 1 over root 2 pi e to the power minus iml phi. So these are the eigenfunctions. Now we have to impose boundary condition. Now you know the nature of the eigenfunction, and we have to impose boundary condition to find out reasonable solution of the meaningful solution out of the general solution possible. So to get meaningful solution out of the general solution, we have to impose boundary condition. Now what is the boundary condition? Now the eigenfunction is periodic in nature, means after a angle of 2 pi, the eigenfunction repeats itself. So that is the boundary condition, means after the angle value of 2 pi, the eigenfunction is repeated itself. So without this condition, the probability density will have multiple values for phi, and phi plus 2n pi. N is an integer. So if we don't impose this boundary condition, then we will have multiple probability densities for different values of phi, means phi and phi plus 2n phi. So this imposition of this particular boundary condition, that is after 2 pi angle the eigenfunction will repeat itself, is very important. So if we apply to the boundary condition to the eigenfunction here, if we ignoring the normalization constant, if we apply, then e to the power iml phi plus 2 pi is equal to e to the power iml phi, because after 2 pi it is repeating. So what does this means? This means e to the power 2 pi iml is equal to 1. Okay, so when this boundary condition is applied to this eigenfunction, then I can write e to the power iml phi plus 2 pi is equal to e to the power iml phi, because after 2 pi it is repeating. So from this expression I can also write e to the power 2 pi iml is equal to 1. Now from Euler's expression, we know e to the power I theta is equal to cos theta plus I sin theta. Here also e to the power I theta expression kind of expression is there. What is theta here? 2 pi ml. So cos theta, cos 2 pi ml plus I sin theta, I sin 2 pi ml is equal to 1. Now when this condition is satisfied, this condition is only satisfied when ml value is equal to 0 or plus or minus 1 or plus or minus 2 or plus or minus 3. So the ml value that we have obtained in the eigenvalue equation of solution of this second order differential equation, or the solution of time independent Schrodinger equation for rotation of particle in a two-dimensional space, that ml value ml value is equal to 0, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3. So the boundary condition generates quantization rule in quantum number. So there is a we can say ml is a quantum number, and again this ml quantum number originated only when we applied the boundary condition. So far here we don't know what is ml value. When in the generic solution we don't know what is the ml value. When we applied the boundary condition, then only ml value comes out to be 0, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, and plus or minus 3. Again ml is considered to be a quantum number. What is the exact nature of this quantum number we'll discuss later. But to express to understand the rotation of a quantum mechanical system in two dimension, then there must be a quantum number involved, and that quantum number arises due to the imposition of boundary condition, and this quantum number varies from 0, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3. Now the corresponding energy will be discrete in nature. The corresponding energy associated with this eigenfunction will be discrete in nature, and it will not be continuous. So we'll understand the we'll use different values of ml for different eigenfunctions. So when we substitute the ml values in the eigenfunction expression, what is A is the normalization constant, and it comes out to be 1 over 2 pi e to the power iml phi. So I'll substitute ml is equal to 0, ml is equal to plus 1, ml is equal to minus 1, ml is equal to 2, ml is equal to minus 2, and plot the graphs for different eigenfunctions. I'll substitute the possible values of ml and plot the graph for different eigenfunctions. Then the graph will look like equation as given in figure 5. Now ml is 0 is not given. ml 0 will resemble with this black circle, means there is no node. For ml is equal to 0, the graph will resemble like the black path, or there is a there exists no node. For ml is equal to 1, there exists two nodes, 1 and 2. For ml is equal to 2, there exist 4 nodes, 1 2 3 and 4. So for ml is equal to 3, there will be existence of 6 nodes. For ml is equal to 4, there will be existing 8 nodes. So whatever the ml value is there, twice the number of quantum number, the lowest energy state has no node. For ml is equal to 0, there is no node actually, and when the quantum number increases, the number of nodes also increases 2 times that of the quantum number. So the number of nodes, which is twice the quantum number, increases with respect to ml. Here only real part is depicted. The eigenfunction is actually linear combination of real part and imaginary part. Here it is there is a real part cos 2 pi ml and I sin 2 pi ml. So in the eigenfunction there exist two parts, one is a real part and another is a imaginary part. Here in this figure 5 only real part is depicted. How the imaginary part will look like? The imaginary part is identical in shape but is shifted by a phase angle pi over 2. But here in figure the red lines that are depicted are only the real parts. The cos part we are depicting. We are not depicting the imaginary part, and which is I sin 2 pi ml. If we depict that, then the phase will be shifted by pi over 2. Now substituting eigen, so this is all about the eigen function, how it looks, and when we applied the boundary condition we got expressions for ml. Now what is the energy value? The energy is the important thing that we want to know. So the substituting the eigenfunction in time independent Schrodinger wave equation, what is the eigenfunction we got? Cos 2 pi ml plus I sin 2 pi ml. So if we substitute those eigenfunctions in time independent Schrodinger wave equation, we'll get corresponding energy values. Now the energy value that we'll get will be equal to EML. Energy will depend upon the quantum number ml, and it gives rise to, it gives as ml square h bar square over 2 mu r0 square. Now mu r0 square is moment of inertia I. So ml h bar square over 2I. This is the energy expression. Energy expression for quantum mechanical rotation of a particle in 2 dimension. Okay, this one we have obtained by substituting our eigenfunction in time independent Schrodinger wave equation. That the exact solution is not mentioned here. We are only getting the energy value, and that depends upon the quantum number for ml, and ml h bar square over 2I. I is the moment of inertia, and ml is equal to 0, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3. Note that the wave function corresponding to plus ml and minus ml, plus 1 state or minus 1 state, are the eigenfunctions or wave functions corresponding to plus ml state and minus ml state are orthogonal in nature. Okay, that is the basic property in postulates of quantum mechanics. We have discussed that the eigenfunction or wave functions corresponding to plus ml and minus ml states are orthogonal in nature, but the energy value is same. Whether it is plus ml or minus ml, the energy value is same. That's why they are twofold degenerate with respect to energy. Okay, but when ml is not equal to 0, then only all the energies are twofold degenerate. When ml is equal to 0, there is only one fold degeneracy is there, only one energy possible. But when ml is not equal to 0, the energy values are twofold degenerate, and for plus ml and minus ml, the eigenfunctions are orthogonal in nature. Okay, so again this quantization of energy originated because of boundary condition, because from after when we solved the boundary condition, then only we obtained the values of ml. So after imposition of boundary condition only we could understand the quantization of energy for rotation of particle in 2-dimensional space. particle in a ring system can be imagined as a box. So what is the resemblance between particle in rotation of particle in 2 dimension and particle in box? Particle in box, the length of particle in box was a, and what was the variable? The variable was x. In x axis it was the particle was moving. So in case of particle in a ring or rotation of particle in 2-dimensional space, the length becomes 2 pi, because after 2 pi the eigenfunctions repeats itself. And what is the variable? The x variable is replaced by phi variable. So that's how we can draw a resemblance between particle in a box system and the particle in a ring system, or rotation of particle in 2-dimensional space. Now in classical rigid rotor problem, we have obtained energy is equal to half I omega square, or L square over 2I. L was what? Angular momentum. The energy expression that we obtained for classical rigid rotor was L square over 2I, or half I omega square. This expression is also applicable to quantum mechanical rigid rotor. But recently we just now I said that the energy values are given as ml h bar square over 2I. Now how these two energies are justified? All the energy means energy expression can be written as L square over 2I half I omega square. This was for classical rigid rotor, and this energy value is also applicable to classical mechanical rigid rotor. But when we substituted the eigenfunction in time independent Schrodinger wave equation, we got the energy values as ml square h square over 2I. So what is the relation between two different energy expressions? We'll see now. The symbol L stands for angular momentum, and the vector symbol is L stands for the generally vector symbol is written as bold face L, and magnitude is written as modulus L, and the operator is written as L over a cap. Okay. Now what is the L with a caret symbol? That represents the angular momentum operator. Angular momentum is written as L. Okay, so L with a caret symbol is angular momentum operator. Modulus of L is magnitude of angular momentum, and boldface L is the angular momentum vector. This is the general common notation that we have used. Now what is the difference between ring system compared to particle in a box? So I said that the ring system, the length is assumed to be 2 pi and the variable is phi. Now apart from that, there is one more there is a difference between a ring system and particle in a box. No 0 point energy is associated with free rotation. Means when ml is equal to 0, EML is equal to 0. Now when I substitute ml is equal to 0, the energy of rotational motion is 0. But for particle in one-dimensional box or simple harmonic motion problem, the 0 point energy was not 0. But for rotational motion in 2 dimension, the 0 point energy is 0. So this is a point of difference between rotational motion and particle in one-dimensional box. Now why the 0 point energy is 0 for rotational motion, and why it was not 0 for particle in a box and harmonic oscillator problem? Last session we discussed that the 0 point energy arises because of the constrained motion. When a particle, quantum mechanical particle, is subjected to a constrained motion in one-dimensional box, it was constrained between the length 0 to a. In harmonic oscillator problem, it was constrained from 0 to x, from equilibrium position 0 to a maximum position x. But in rotational motion, it is not constrained. It is free rotation. Means it is rotating freely. Means there is no boundary condition applied. Means after 2 pi, the same thing, the same eigenfunction repeats. So there is the confinement of the motion is not applied for rotation. That's why the 0 point energy is 0 for rotation of particle in 2-dimensional system. So this is the difference between ring system and particle in box. Now we'll further understand why two different energy expressions are there. In one case, after solving the Schrodinger wave equation, we got energy eigenvalue as ml h square over 2i, and the classical energy expression is L square over 2i or half pi omega square. So what is the resemblance between them, we'll study. Now to get an eigenvalue for the angular momentum, we have to use angular momentum operator and apply that on the eigenfunction. So the angular momentum operator, but the particle is moving in xy plane, so where the angular momentum will lie? The angular momentum will lie in z direction. So the angular momentum along z direction, the operator for angular momentum along z direction is equal to I minus IH bar dou over dou phi. Okay, partial derivative of the eigenfunction with respect to the variable phi. So if I do that, if I operate the angular momentum operator on the function, on the eigenfunction, the operator is written as minus is cross dou over dou phi. And what is the eigenvalue? The eigenfunction, the eigenfunction is a e to the power I ml phi, and a was what? The normalization constant, and normalization constant is 1 over 2 pi, root 2 pi. So 1 over root 2 pi is a constant, it comes out. So the differentiation of e to the power I ml phi gives ml and the same function, that is e to the power I ml phi. So ml plus or minus ml h bar over root 2 over of 2 pi. So if I rearrange, I am getting the same eigenfunction. What is the eigenfunction? The eigenfunction is 1 over root 2 pi e to the power I ml phi. So 1 over root 2 pi e to the power I ml phi is the eigenfunction. So what is the eigenvalue then? The other things, that two other things are eigenvalue. What is the other thing? ml h cross, plus or minus ml h cross. So ml can have value 0, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3. So this is what is, so what is the eigenvalue for the angular momentum along z direction? The eigenvalue for angular momentum along z direction or z direction is given as ml h cross, plus or minus ml h cross. This is important to remember. And how we obtained this one? When we operated the angular momentum operator on the eigenfunction, we got the corresponding eigenfunction with a definite eigenvalue, and that eigenvalue is ml h cross. Now, so our angular momentum along z direction is given as ml h cross. So further we see that the eigenfunction for positive and negative eigenfunctions both are possible. There are two independent eigenfunctions are possible. So they give the same eigenvalue, that is ml h cross. Now we'll use this angular momentum value, the eigenvalue of angular momentum, in energy expression. Energy expression is given as L square over 2I. Here there are two different energy expressions for appearing. Energy expression is L square over 2I half I omega square. That is, this expression was applicable to classical as well as quantum mechanical rigid rotor. But upon solving the Schrodinger wave equation, time independent Schrodinger wave equation, we got ml square h square over 2I. How did we obtain this? The eigenvalue for L operator, the angular momentum, is what? ml h cross. So when you take square, we'll get ml square h square and over 2I. So that's what the energy value is. Also can also be written as ml square h square over 2I or L square over 2I. And what is the eigenvalue for L? That is the angular momentum. The eigenvalue for angular momentum is ml h cross. It is important to note the eigenvalue for angular momentum along z direction or z direction is ml h cross. So what is my energy expression? The energy expression will be quantized and it will depend upon the quantum number ml, and that is given as L square over 2I. L is again ml h cross. So ml square h cross over 2I, or it can also be given as half I omega square. Okay. Now we'll discuss the probability of finding the particle along a particular angle phi in the interval d phi. So probability is given as what is the expression for probability? The eigenfunction, its complex conjugate multiplied over the whole interval d phi. This is called probability. Now since this is not a real function, we have to take complex conjugate. It is a complex function, so we have to take complex conjugate. And what is the eigenfunction? 1 over 2 pi e to the power I ml phi. So this phi is subscripted, but it should not be subscripted, it should be normal, e to the power I ml phi. So for complex conjugate it is plus I ml phi, for the normal it is minus I ml phi. and the normalization constant 1 over 2 pi is taken as square. So if we solve this, we are this plus IML phi minus IML phi cancels out. What we are left with? What? D phi over 2 pi. D phi over 2 pi. So what does this means? The probability is given as d phi over 2 pi. It is found that the probability of finding particle in a given interval d phi is same as for all values of phi. For any value of phi, we will get the same probability. This now why this result is obtained? Because the phi operator, the angle operator and angular momentum operator don't commute with each other. Okay, so that's why the position and momentum is like in particular in one-dimensional box, position and momentum were not commuting. Similarly, in rotational motion in 2 dimension, the position operator, that is a phi, and the momentum operator, angular momentum operator, don't commute with respect to each other. With this, I'll stop here. Next session, we'll discuss about quantum mechanical rotation in 3 dimension.